stuff going on here. Is this on? Are you on? Who knows? Who knows? Kudos. That's not showing. That's the... Oh, it is on. Oh, it is on. Oh no, not the echo. No, not the echo. Hello, and welcome to YouTube Live. I swear, it's the first one since like. Oh my God! No, don't do that. Jesus, we do not need a constant echo. Since like December, it's the first one. It's just a little. It's not warm. It's just not cool. You know what I mean? Do I think I need to hear myself? Do you think I need to hear myself? Anyway, so we got a lot of movies to talk about. 5. We're going to try to be pretty concise with them. So the audio sounds a little weird. You've been waiting forever. Hey, I had to put my face on. Get the close out some things on the computer. Actually, I gotta plug in the computer. But yeah, so it's been a long time since we've done a review or a live. Unfortunately, just really haven't been able to. Kind of forgot about it there for a while. I did fix my bed for this. I threw all the laundry, like my jeans down there. My snack containers down there, all my mails down there. Move the comforter. Just put the plush on there. Fixed it just for this purpose. Oh, let's see. Copy. Looks comfy. It is not. It's old. Has a groove in it from my lard ass being in it. I'm gonna put this into T1BG's thing. I don't know if it matters. Anyway, so yeah, movies. So I did mention this in the review or the description that there's probably going to be some spoilers for these movies in this. So if you don't want any spoilers at all, you're going to be SOL. I mean, I'll try not to, spoil full plot points, but we'll see. But yeah. I'm going to try to keep it between 10 to 15 minutes per movie. I don't want to, get sidetracked and talk about a movie for, forever and go off on all these tangents and all that stuff like we did in the first couple lives. So. Of course it matters. Well, I don't want to spoil it. But it's like, I gotta share things. I mean, I've already shared with you guys my opinions on most of these movies. So, this is a continuation. See my shirt? Stay golden. See my cup? Squad goals. Right? They look pretty good in this. They look pretty good in this. I won't lie. Anyway, movies. talk movies. Let's not talk about racks. Golden Girls Mega Fan. Let's see. And that's Artistic Creations. I'm in the wrong channel. So any preference of what movie we talk about first? Any suggestions from the Peanut Gallery? Dune. All right, we'll talk about Dune. Dune. Where do we start with Dune? So Dune, we'll have to talk about Dune Part 1 just a little bit because we need to connect things together. Sorry. I'm getting so... My cheeks are a little rosy today. It was sunny. All right, so Dune Part 1. Very beautiful. Very well shot. They created this great world that nothing really happens in. I mean, obviously things happen in it, but it's like there's not enough happening in it. There's so many breaks in the story that are just scenery. It's just, hey, look at this sand dune over here. Look at this forest over there. Not on Dune, obviously, or Arrakis. I had a hard time following all the names and all that because I feel like, you know, it's a sci-fi, so all the names are kind of odd. Also, I don't need to hear myself. The first one, yes, we're talking a little bit about the first one first to talk about how it's they improved on things, but they didn't improve enough. Right? So the world was really empty to me. There wasn't much, the story was kind of pieced together and they didn't really explain things like the whole voice and all that. It just really, I don't know. I liked it, but it's required viewing to see the second one. It really is. Because it's a continuation. Yeah, there's a lot of shots of sand. They were really obsessed with the sand shots. And it does get a little old after a while. This movie doesn't have to be 2 hours and there's a spider coming down from the roof right on top of myself. This movie doesn't have to be, 5 hours long. You just take out half all those sand shots. I'm gonna kill this spider. So the second movie does improve upon it quite a bit. Did I get you? I did get you. I'm sorry, spider. You just can't invade my personal space, bro. If you want to be up in the corners, be up in the corners. Just not on my face. Thanks. Is the lighting okay? I feel like it's not good. Anyway. So the second movie kind of continues where the first movie left off, except that they don't show you the city that you were supposed to be getting to. So the whole thing was like the first movie ends with a cliffhanger, a very abrupt cliffhanger, of them going to the city where the Fremen people live, and they were going to try to become part of the Fremen people. But the second movie starts, but they don't continue that. So you never get to see this great city, really. You see pieces of it, but you never really get to see this great Fremen society of the indigenous people of the planet. Yeah, it's just like, shoot, move it over. And it's just kind of odd. And I feel like the movie... I'm not used to like talking off the cuff with things because usually I'm just, Sorry, I'm looking. I know I wrote about it in Discord. There we go. I know I complained about it. So Dune 2, I found disappointing in similar ways. Well, it depends. It depends on how I get. You're distracting me with these side conversations, sir. I like the costumes. I did feel like the Fremen costumes, they're more function over form, and everybody's wearing the same costume. That wasn't exciting. Florence Pugh's costumes, like, I, I don't. They were great. Like, I really liked her costumes. It was just every time you see her, she's in this new crazy getup, and it's just like, what's going on? Like, I know she's the emperor's daughter, so obviously she has money. I did what? Oh, like her costumes? I did like her costumes. See, that's the thing. It's like they're like over the top, but they're not over the top ugly to me. Like that one that's like this jeweled headpiece that's like skin tight, where it's like just this showing, kind of like Jean Grey would have. You know what I mean? That was really odd. But I mean, I didn't mind it. Or like the one where she had like the dangly bits on her face, and when she moves, the it's so odd. I mean, she has that voice though. She has that sultry voice where she's really good at narrating things. I mean, but again, she's just a character thrown at you, and she's narrating something, and you're like, okay, what's going on? Who is this woman? What is she doing? And then later on, they reveal things. I just feel like they just kept kind of throwing things at you, and then deciding later, oh, by the way, this is who that is. So, but yeah, but she didn't have much to do either. She just kind of sat at her desk, recording things. Yeah, I know you said that before about how you think I had too many characters. I feel like I had too many characters that they didn't do anything with. Like Florence Pugh's character, what did she do? She didn't do anything. She just shook the whole thing. She basically talked into her recording device. She talked to her dad, the Emperor, and that's it. And she was there at the end. Yeah. Well, she didn't get married. That's in part 3. She got betrothed. Yeah, engaged. Her hand was won in marriage. Let me bring up IMDb. Because I feel like it's probably... Wow, I put Dune Part Door. Part 2, please. Not Part Door. As I feel bad for using the actors' names instead of the characters' names. Because, I mean, you know. But I feel like if I said Jessica, you'd be like, who's Jessica? Which is Rebecca Ferguson, Timothée Chalamet's mom in the movie. Right? If I said Jessica, you'd be like, who's Jessica? I don't even know who Jessica is. Because they don't really use people's names a lot. You notice that? They don't. They kind of talk about them in passing a lot of the times. It's weird. Like Lady Margot Fenring. I don't know if they introduced her at all. She just kind of popped up and kind of seduced Austin Butler. Like, okay. They're just kind of standing in this weird hallway, and then they go to a room, and next thing you know, she says, you know, I seduced him. Like, I just feel like they expect you to know more about the movie series and about the books than, yeah, and she's pregnant. I was trying not to spoil it, Prince. Jeez. She's with child, is how they mentioned it in a movie. I was rubbing my stomach. I just feel like they expect you to have a backstory already. Like, you need to have read the 24 novels in order for you to understand what's going on in this movie. Otherwise, here's characters for you. Like, I get that she's a Ben Gesserit character, you know, part of that organized religion of the Ben Gesserit. But it's like, she's just kind of thrown in there. See? So, it's characters that don't do anything, and you have no backstory for it. I will say that I felt that Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya had zero chemistry for romance. Like, at all. I could not take them as being romantically involved. I mean, they didn't show them being romantically involved either. They kissed maybe once or twice in the whole movie. Yet she's like destined to be with him, kind of thing. Or he had visions of her in the first movie, and they're destined to be together. It's like, what? Like, they just seem like they're friends, and then she always seems pissed off at him, which she should be, by the way. But yeah, they gave me nothing. Nothing wrong with it. You thought they were good together? I didn't think they were good together. I mean, I don't know much about Timothée Chalamet as an actor. I couldn't tell you what I've seen him in ever. You know, I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name. I haven't seen Wonka. I haven't seen Bones at all. I saw some of his things on SNL when he hosted. But I don't know much about his acting. I just felt that he was just kind of there on screen for the most part. And the only time you really got emotion out of him is when he like screams, "I am Paul Atreides!" Like, oh, thank you. No, there's no nudity in the movie. Well, is there nudity? I mean, Skarsgård's character was like kind of nude in the first one, but he was a big fat suit though, right? Like he doesn't. I don't know. I need to see him in other movies. I mean, obviously he's like the Hollywood it boy right now, but I just feel like he wasn't giving me anything that he should have been. Just kind of staring off in the distance, empty eyes. I mean, maybe him having empty eyes was the whole goal. If that's the goal, then you did a great job, Timmy. You were very empty-eyed. Yeah, no nudity. Yeah, Tharv. Like, no, he just, I don't know. I just couldn't buy them as a couple. And I mean, it shows that at the end. Empty eyes. And he just kind of just stares at like nothingness. They want me to be their savior, but I just want to be a Fremen. Like, get the whole eye droop going. It's like super relaxed, emotionless guy. Like, come on, Timmy. Come on, Timmy. I did complain about the sound mixing, where lines were kind of drowned out by the music, especially one of the climactic scenes where Timmy Tim is about to kill somebody on some stairs, and he says a line, but you could barely hear it over the swelling music, and it's like, come on, man, come on. This is like a big moment. A main character is dying. We need to hear it, and it's just like ba ba ba. I don't know. Like, I would still suggest people to watch it. You know, if you're interested in sci-fi, because you might like it. I mean, people loved it, and they might be making a third one. I mean, this one also ended with a cliffhanger. Not as abrupt of an ending this time, because there was some resolution. I think if they ended after the resolution, it would have been perfectly fine. Then it wouldn't even have to have like a cliffhanger after like the final battle and the betrothed wife. I feel like that would be a good ending. But I mean, you still got issues with Zendaya and her relationship, and now he's this and all that. I do want to say that for people who, there's a lot of talk about this movie being like a white savior complex movie, like Fern Gully and Avatar and Pocahontas, where usually a white guy comes into the native tribe to learn their ways, or saved by a native and learns their ways, etc., 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 and starts to take actions against the people they came from. So, like in Avatar, Pocahontas, all those things. Are you the native prince and I am taking into your culture? I do eat Taco Bell quite often. But it's not that kind of movie, because I mean, as the movie progresses, you realize that Timothée Chalamet is not a savior, and that everything is not as it seems. The Ben Gesserit have things up their sleeves that are not good. I mean, the movie. Well, the book itself was about colonization and the falsehoods of religion and how they can be used to control the masses. Like it's that kind of book. So you could expect that kind of theme out of the movies. So is it woke? I mean, you have interracial relationships. That's pretty woke. You got them talking ill about religion. That's pretty woke. You know, you got strong women. It's a beautiful wrapper for not great tasting candy. Woo. That's a good one, May. That's a good one. You wouldn't say like Prince. Just I don't even know, but everything's woke. Just an FYI. Oh, we gotta talk about Christopher Walken. How long have we been talking about this movie? I feel like we've been talking about this movie quite a bit. Christopher Walken. Why? Why is he the Emperor? Why? I guess they probably wanted like recognition, like a recognizable actor, which is fine. But yeah, I don't know who made that casting decision. I don't know if he had a contract or something to be in this movie. I'm drinking a fermented beverage. I'm not sure what we can have on YouTube, so he is not intimidating. He's like me, always hunched over, because he's like what 80 years old. Yeah, he knew a friend of a friend. Hey, Timmy, can you get me in your movie? Sure, Mr. Walken, whatever you need. Like, and he delivered his lines in that cadence, and it was just like, God, I can't. And like when he's faced with Paul Atreides, and it's this like action tense situation, he's just kind of standing there with his mouth open, like, my warrior is this guy. Like, oh my God, like, come on, man. It killed me. Killed me. I wish people were in the theater so they could be laughing at it. Like, ugh. God. Austin Butler, scary looking. Nothing else about him, though. They just didn't flesh out any character whatsoever. It's just so disappointing. I gave it a 6.5. The same thing I gave part 1. Because it has delusions of grandeur. And I mean, you can watch the movie and absolutely fall in love with it. Oh, I didn't mention the Black Planet. The Black Sun planet, where House Harkonnen's from. That was fantastic visuals. Fantastic. They have a black sun. It's like everything's kind of like negative, kind of. That looked fantastic. I love it. The characters were walking like from the shade. They would have like skin color, but then when they walked into the sunlight, they would get white, and like the Ben Gesserit's outfits turned white, but then you could see the stitching in it. Like it was a really cool thing. African American sun. How dare you use my joke against me? But yes, so that was a really cool effect. But again, it's pretty. The movie is pretty, and the fireworks. But that's it. That's it. So 6.5. Dune Part 2, just like Dune Part 1. I would say watch it if you're into sci-fi. If you're on the fence about it, you could probably skip it. You know, all the BDSM outfits. All right, what's the next movie? We could talk about Spy X Family real quick. I don't have much to say about Spy X Family, Code White. It was a Regal mystery movie. It was an anime. A couple people walked out. A couple people wouldn't shut up about should they walk out. It's a movie about a family. The father is a spy. He kind of like, I'm guessing that he hires the wife to play his wife, but he doesn't know that the wife is actually an assassin. I didn't go see an anime. It was the mystery movie. And I went and saw A Boy and Heron in both Japanese and English. Enough of this. No. Yeah, it was the mystery movie. So it's like, I mean, I knew it was probably going to be the option because it was World Anime Day. So Sailor Print, that's true. So, so you have the husband who's a spy. I think he hires the woman to play his wife as part of his cover, but she doesn't know he's a spy. She just thinks she's acting or something. I don't know. It was confusing to me. Um, she's an assassin and he doesn't know that she's an assassin. And then they have a daughter who they adopted as part of this facade, and the daughter is telepathic and she can read minds. But the dad and the mom don't know this. And then they have a dog that can see into the future, and the little girl can read the dog's mind because, you know, she can read minds. So she can also see the future because she sees the dog's into the dog's mind, and the dog, you know, they talk to each other telepathically. I did chuckle. It did have funny moments in it. It was a really odd movie. It was very anime. I agree. His name is Lloyd. The dad's name is Lloyd. Loid. The mom's name is Yor. The problem with this movie being a mystery movie is that this is a television series, and there are 37 episodes of TV prior to this movie. So they did try to like recap things for you in the beginning, talking about the dad and the mom and their backgrounds and stuff, and kind of piecing it together. It was enough for the movie, but there was Loid. It's Japanese, but it wasn't enough to make you understand what was going on. So like the dad's trying to get close to this politician, so the daughter's in like this fancy school, and she has to win this cooking competition so she can get these merit badges, which if she gets enough of those, she'll be able to go to this fancy dinner where the politician will be. So then the dad could be there near the politician. I don't know if he's going to kill him or infiltrate something. I don't know. But it's like this whole thing, but it feels like the TV show has all the other merit badges. I don't know. I never watched TV show, but it just feels like we're just kind of thrown into this process that's already been occurring for 37 episodes. So the story of the movie is that they need to make a dessert for the principal of the school who's judging. So they take a trip to a like small town in the mountains where the principal's favorite dessert is made, so they can eat it and get the ingredients to make that favorite dessert at home, so she can win the competition, so she can get the merit badge, so he can be one step closer to getting to that political party thing. It was very odd. I'm like, and there's like whole scenes of them walking around a food market getting the ingredients. The dad is a master of disguises. Like he puts rubber masks on and can imitate any voice. Like this movie is like over 2 hours long. Oh, it's only an hour 50. Whew, it felt very long. But you know, they're on the train, and then they're into town, and then there's this, and then there's that, and then they kind of get mixed up in things, and it's just it was a lot. There was comedy in it. There was a very manga scene where the little girl has to go to a bathroom, but she doesn't want to go to a bathroom, so she's like teleported to this fantasy world of toilets, and there's like an old man who has like a poop on a staff, and like the statues are the old men peeing, and she's like floating around. It's very anime, and it's very bizarre. I mean, you can just hear the people behind them behind me, like complaining about it, and I'm just like, I don't know. It is what it is. Like I'm just watching this movie, absorbing it for what it is. I just feel like I can't have much of a stance on it because I don't know the history of it. Like, are these characters that we're getting introduced to? Because like we get introduced to a guy who's mad because he can't go on this trip. He's like a soldier, but he's not allowed to go because it's his sister. And you kind of figure out that like the assassin woman is his sister. Yeah, yeah, it was literally like the old man as a statue. I mean, obviously it's censored, but yeah, it was bizarre. But that was like the dream sequence, which is very anime. So, did I give it a rating? I think I said between 5.5 and 6.5, just because I didn't really know what was going on from a standalone stand, like just going in blind. It was okay. It was odd though. Like the mom was neurotic. Like she was like falling in love with him. And she's like, oh my god, is he gonna fire me if I'm not a perfect wife? Oh my god. And then there was like another agent that was like in love with him. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of backstory that's just missing. But they probably didn't have a lot of options for animes for National Anime Day. So I don't know. But people were not fans of it, and they complained about it at the next movie as well. I hope it's not another cartoon. They had us watching one of those animation movies last time. You didn't have to watch it. You could have left, like I did with Mark Wahlberg. But hey, you do you, kids. Okay, so that's a very quick review of Spy X Family Code White. Did you see it? But see, is there a new Sailor Moon movie? Because it would have to be a new movie. Although, see, I know Sailor Moon, but I would still be just as lost if seeing a Sailor Moon movie because I haven't watched it since the original cartoon. You know? I feel like that if there was like a new Dragon Ball Z movie coming out, that might have been one of the movies too. So I don't want that piece of ice in my mouth. Well, damn, we could have saw Sailor Moon. Well, maybe the next mystery movie will be Sailor Moon. Oh, but the movie was in English, though. Okay? So I think if it was in Japanese, I think a lot of people would have left. But for me, there's just translations that just don't work when you go from English to Japanese or Japanese to English. Especially with voice actors. Like, if you don't know Japanese, it's going to be kind of hard to grasp the emotion that's coming from it. So, it was kind of rough. Yeah, I think I would have been the only one in there. I mean, that's why when I saw The Boy and the Heron, I watched it in Japanese first to get like the emotional thing, like how it's meant to be made, you know, how we're meant to be seen. Like that's what I did, and then I saw the English version afterwards, which it has Mark Hamill, Florence Pugh, Robert Pattinson, like other people in there. And then you it's a different vibe though. It's more Americanized, and the emotion's a little different because you have the Japanese characters and their customs and their, I don't know, their societal things are there in the Japanese version, but not in the English version. So, but I mean, am I glad it was in English? I guess I was probably glad it was in English. It would have been a lot of reading. There were a lot of talking. But apparently Master Zell, he said Spy X Family is great, so I think he actually watches it, so he should have came into the movies with me. But he refused. How disappointing. Alright. We've been live for what, 34 minutes? That's not too bad. We talked about 2 movies. Dune was a really long one, so it makes sense. I'm always telling them. always telling them. I tell my friends the same thing. Like, if you want to go to the movies and see something, because, you know, not everybody likes to go to movies alone. Even if it's a movie I don't want to see, just shoot me a text. If I'm available, I'll go see it. I went and saw that Haunted Mansion movie. That wasn't very good. But my friend asked me if I wanted to go because she was meeting some coworkers there, and I said, sure. It's free for me. What do I care? It wasn't that good, but I saw it. I mean, if she wanted to see, she went and saw that not Bridgerton. What's the other English show? Yeah, shoots me a text. Oh wait, my phone's right here. Stupid. Downton Abbey. My friend went to go see that in theaters. Like, you could have texted me. I'd go see Downton Abbey with you. I don't know anything about it, but I'd go see it because it's free for me. Anyway, let's see. What else do we got in this thumbnail? Want to talk about some Ghostbusters? Yeah, so personally, I mean, I love Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters has been part of my life, my entire life. So I love Ghostbusters. I watched the first and second one hundreds of times. Watch it on TV, watch it on DVD. I made my ex watch them. Like, I love Ghostbusters. I watched like the 80s cartoon. I watched like the extreme Ghostbusters cartoon from the 90s. I love Ghostbusters. I do. Ghostbusters Afterlife, you do have to watch that one before this one, I would say. Yeah, it took me that god-awful movie. Prince, when I say my ex, I mean my most recent ex. No, I didn't. I dated the crazy one for like a month. So, like, part of our thing was making each other watch our favorite movies to kind of, you know, get to know each other more. That's the thing. So, like Nightmare Before Christmas, I fell asleep during that. Still haven't seen it. Let's see. Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. That's what's called, right? Frozen Empire. Oh, there it is. It's literally the top thing. I'm like, where is it? They separated by pictures. Okay, so Ghostbusters. I liked it. Like I said before, I love Ghostbusters, so it would have to be really, really bad for me not to like it. In some capacity. It is not a perfect movie. There are issues with it that I did not like. But overall, I had a good time. I laughed. I enjoyed it. A lot of the complaints I read about it don't make any sense to me. But we'll get into it. So basically, you have, obviously, this is a new group of Ghostbusters. If you watched Afterlife, you know it's Egon Spengler's daughter and granddaughter. And they kind of, I mean, there's a whole emotional thing in Afterlife, so I would say definitely watch that one. But Afterlife's kind of a retread, but it's kind of a passing of the torch. But anyway. So this one, we're back. The Ghostbusters are busting. You know, the Paul Rudd, who was like her science teacher, but I guess maybe he's dating the mom now. Finn Wolfhard is the brother. And then Phoebe. I like how I say Phoebe, even her name is McKenna Grace. But I know her as Phoebe from the movie. Finn Wolfhard's name is Trevor. But, I mean, who cares? And they're, you know, out busting ghosts. That's what they're doing. I would have preferred to see more ghost busting, to be honest. I mean, there are some ghost busting scenes. The whole opening sequence is a ghost busting scene. We get introduced to the mayor of New York City, who is none other than, hold on, I want to make sure I get his name right. I don't want to say his name wrong. Mayor Walter Peck, which if you've seen the previous Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 1, Walter Peck was trying to get the Ghostbusters shut down. And he succeeded for a bit. But they brought him back, and he is the mayor of the city, which was hilarious to me, because he is just trying to shut the Ghostbusters down again, but now in his official capacity as the mayor. So I thought that was a really cool little tidbit. A nice, I mean, it's a cameo, but it's extended cameo. He's in quite a bit of the scene, not quite a bit, but he's in multiple scenes. So I like that a lot. I mean, obviously, all these actors are much older. They're all probably in their 70s. I mean, all the original Ghostbusters are in their 70s. So I would assume Walter Peck is as well. But I really liked it. And so basically, the story is that so Phoebe, because she's a minor, she gets removed by the mayor from the ghost busting situation because she's a minor. She can't have a weapon like that. And the parents support that decision, and they tell her, go be a teenager, just live your life, be fun. It's only like 2 years because she's 16, you know. And honestly, she doesn't like that because she's the one who helped recreate the technology. Because she's super smart. She's the one who helped bring back ghost busting, and she feels like it's kind of like her baby, and she's being slighted now because she doesn't get to go on ghost busting adventures. Obviously, there's a big bad. Name is Garaka. I thought they were saying Baraka, but that's the guy from Mortal Kombat. It's Garaka, who can make you scared to death, make you freeze and be frozen. So, obviously a big baddie. But for me, he wasn't big enough of a baddie. Like, there isn't a lot of interactions besides the final battle with the bad guy. I mean, I know in the original Ghostbusters, they basically fought Gozer at the end, and they fought the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. In Ghostbusters 2, they kind of had a longer fight sequence with Vigo, but they dealt more with Vigo's minion. God, I don't remember the minion's name, but I know who the guy is. But so there's not usually a lot of fighting with the big bad anyway. But I feel like in this day and age, with the budget that they have, we could have some more fighting with the big bad. Maybe he has like ice minions or something, like something to build up to the climax of the movie. Like, there wasn't as much ghost busting as I wanted. Like, the city gets frozen over, but they don't show a lot of what's happening of it being frozen over. Like, they're not out fighting things like how the Ghostbusters would go out and fight. Like in the first movie, when all the spirits are released, there's a whole sequences of like Slimer coming out of the hot dog cart, the taxi cab driver who's dead. Like, there's a whole bunch of things showing how the ghosts are interacting with the city. But in this, the city just kind of freezes over, and then like that's it. And it's like, well, what's going on? Like, how are people dealing with this? Like, the normal people, like, what's happening? You should see it soon. I would 100% recommend it. I can't wait to buy it on DVD. Yeah, I love the Ghostbusters. And so they brought back, obviously, all the remaining Ghostbusters. Winston Zeddemore, Peter Venkman, Ray Stantz. Ray had a much bigger part in the movie than the other ones, but that's because Ray is Dan Aykroyd, and Dan Aykroyd is one of the creators of Ghostbusters, and he's one of the writers and all that. So, and I think he loves it. Like, that's his baby. If you hear him talking about Ghostbusters, he adores Ghostbusters. So he's very much into it because he knows it's like his thing. So he's much more involved in the movie. He works with the new kids. He's trying to solve the mystery. There's a whole like investigations and stuff. Like, it felt very Ghostbusters to me, where they were trying to solve a mystery by going through the motions of doing research, and like it felt really good to me. And I'm not afraid to admit that. Winston's in it, obviously. Winston Zeddemore. Ernie Hudson, which everybody's all talking about now because he's 78 and he's ripped. There's a whole article about him in Men's Health. I mean, he looks amazing. So he is a philanthropist. He's a really rich guy. I forget what he got his money from. It might have been lawyers. I'm not sure. They talk about it in Afterlife, but I don't remember. But so he has like a ghost core company that specializes in dehaunting items. So if you bring him an item, they can extract the spirit from it and store the spirit somewhere and give you back your item or whatever. But they also do research to learn more about spirits and what kind of ghosts there are and stuff like that. It's a whole operation. And like I think it's his granddaughter in the movie. She's also part of the whole thing. And I think it's a really good expansion. It does make me nervous that there might be like weird spin-offs, you know, kind of like how like the Men in Black movie like spun off into Chris Hemsworth. Like, it does make me a little worried for that they might try to spin stuff out that won't be as good. But I mean that just comes with the territory. But I did like how it expanded the universe more than just that, which I think that's why I'm disappointed it wasn't more ghost busting, because it's like you have this whole other corporation here. Like, you can do so much more with that. At least show them going out and busting a couple ghosts, you know? What are you gonna do? Let's see. Venkman was in it as well. His part was much smaller. I just think because it's Bill Murray. I feel like Bill Murray's just a curmudgeon who doesn't really want to do much, but he does do stuff. So, but he was in there and he was doing investigating too, and I think it really worked. There's throwbacks to the originals in there. I don't think it's overly nostalgia bait. I think it's for me just the right amount of nostalgia to kind of, but it's fresh enough to keep it moving forward. I do think they need to fix some stuff going forward, but it's okay. Let's see. There is a spirit girl in the movie that people really didn't like. I've been seeing a lot of complaints about a spirit girl, and to be honest, I think it makes sense. So there's a teenage, she's probably like 18 or whatever, but she's a spirit, and she talks to the main character Phoebe. So like people didn't like it. They're like, well, why would that ghost talk to her? And it's like, well, it's explained in the movie why she's talking to her, but please. And they're like, well, why would Phoebe act that way? Because Phoebe's really smart. And it's like, yeah, she's really smart, but she's a teenager. Like, she's still a child. She's super smart, but she's super impulsive as well. So, she's trying to be a little bit of rebellious in her age. So, but I think it worked. It was a little weird because you don't really see in the Ghostbusters movie the ghosts just kind of talking and hanging out with somebody. Usually they're like weird, creepy ghosts and stuff like that. But I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, like a librarian ghost, she is there as long as you don't mess with her. Oh, really? Yeah, it's like it's a pretty big plot point, but yeah, there's like a ghost girl that she talks to, and we learn about the ghost girl's history and stuff, and she moves the plot forward. So, but I didn't mind it. It came off a little weird when it started, but then I started realizing, well, they're expanding the universe and what it means to be a Ghostbuster, and what it means to be part of this supernatural world. You got cameos from Patton Oswalt, who kind of rubs me the wrong way. He was okay in this, but and then Kumail Nanjiani. He wasn't a cameo, but he was good. I mean, he's fine. Annie Potts was in it briefly. I don't feel like they really did much with her. She was just kind of there. She answered a couple phones. Ghostbusters, what do you want? I think she's just kind of there for like, just because she's a legacy character. That's why she's there. So she was fine. She was probably the least active member of the original cast. So no Sigourney Weaver. Spoiler alert. No Sigourney, unfortunately. Maybe if they make a third one, we'll get Sigourney. Maybe she'll bring her son Oscar with her. But I don't know. I don't know how much Sigourney wants to get back to Ghostbusters or not. But I wouldn't mind seeing her and Venkman have some banter. I think that would be funny. Especially since they're in their 70s. And I mean, she looks amazing. But I think it would be very interesting to see them now. Because she still looks great. And then, Bill Murray looks like a hobbit. Or not a hobbit. A hermit. I think it'd be very interesting to see them contrasting and have him still trying to mac it to her. But yeah, she wasn't in it. But yeah, I think they set stuff up. I would, like I said, I want more of the final battle. It's hard when demons have godlike powers and humans just have their proton packs. But that's why I think if there were henchmen and stuff like that, we could really kind of play with that. But I mean, I gave it an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5. Part of that is because I love Ghostbusters, but also because I think it's a good iteration of the continuing of the story. If they make another one, I'm not sure. I'm sure actually well, they probably will because Ghostbusters is a massive franchise. I am biased. I have nostalgia goggles on, don't you know? I don't think it has a lot of nostalgia bait in it, as people like to bitch about, complain about. Um, like the legacy characters came back for a reason. They were performing tasks in the movie. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm a Ghostbuster. It was like Ray's doing stuff, Winston's doing stuff, Venkman's doing stuff. Like everybody's doing stuff. So to me, it makes sense to have them in there. Plus, you don't know how much longer we're going to have them available to do these movies. So, if it's the last time they come, it's the last time they come. But we'll see. I didn't mind that. But yeah, I mean, well, you want to see it. I think it's a good movie. If you've seen Afterlife, then I think it'll do well. I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah, right. I mean, because sometimes you make people who don't want to come back. Harrison Ford. So it's like, it's kind of hard to get people to come back to something that they did 40 years ago. Ghostbusters is from the 80s. It's like 83, 84, something like that. So I mean, it's back there. But yeah, I'd say check it out. Yes, it's a date movie. That was what you always asked me before. Is it a date movie? It is a date movie. We only got one. We got two more movies to talk about. We'll talk about. It's not playing anymore. Actually, it might still be playing at some theaters. It's not playing in mine, but yeah, I liked it, and I plan on watching it again. The anime date movie. The anime. I mean, if you're both into anime, sure. If you have one anime loving friend and then the other one doesn't like anime, then I would say that's gonna be a pretty lousy date. But Dune could be a good date movie if you're both interested in sci-fi. The next movie, though, we're going to talk about is Civil War, which may not be the most romantic movie for you to go see. But you guys could have deep conversations about it. As we talked about, that's the movie where I. Wait, was that movie? Was that the one I sat down? Yeah, that was Civil War, where I sat down next to the people and they got up and moved. Sucks to be them. They should have been sitting in the proper seats and they wouldn't have had that issue. Civil War. It is a rather controversial movie for people. People are struggling with the movie overall. Some people don't understand it. I find it interesting how there's so many different interpretations of this movie. How conservatives will watch the movie and say it. Some will say the movie makes conservatives look good. Some will say it makes conservatives look bad. And that's the same thing for the other side. Liberals say, oh, this movie makes liberals look bad. Oh, but this movie makes liberals look good. And it's like, I don't think it makes anybody look like anything. Because as I've complained about to you guys already in Discord, Civil War doesn't give you anything about the Civil War. There's no explanation. There's no information. There's nothing that lets you know why there's a civil war going on. And it's disappointing. It really is. Kirsten Dunst plays Lee. I think Kirsten Dunst does a fantastic job. She is a grizzled photojournalist, and she's been in war zones and stuff like that. They show some of that stuff. And she's kind of desensitizes herself to it so she can get the shot, you know? Because, I mean, you see pictures of war zones and people shooting guns and all that all the time. And you're like, wait a second. You don't think in your head that there's somebody with a camera behind the soldiers taking those pictures. Like, how else are you getting the picture, right? That's how you're getting it. There's a photojournalist there. So, and she has some, you know, she copes with it in her own way. And I think that they show her moments of vulnerability really well. I think she probably could have been in the run for an Oscar nomination for this movie. To be absolutely honest, I think she could have. Except for me, at the end, her character just does something that makes no sense to me. And she acts completely out of the ordinary. And it kind of ruined her performance a bit for me. And I was really disappointed by that. But I mean, other than that, she was phenomenal in it. It has a lot of the acting is really good. So her co-worker and pal is Joel, who's played by Wagner Moura. He looks familiar, but I don't really know him from anything off the top of my head. They're friends. They're not romantically involved, which I'm glad. We don't need a forced, you know, romance. And he was in Narcos. You know, I hate when they try to force a romance into things for no reason. Kaylee Spaney plays Jessie. Oh no problem. Man, I'll probably be done by the time you get back. So, but no problem. So Joel's more of like an interviewer, and he's the kind of drives, and I think he's just like they're kind of like partners. And so there's Jessie, who's like a young girl who wants to be like a photojournalist. Lee is like her idol, and so she tags along with them on their adventures. And Kirsten Dunst is trying to teach her how to do these things. You know, like the first time you see a dead body, it's gonna be really shocking to you, but you have to get the shot. You have to get the shot. That's why we're here. You deal with it in your own time. When you're in the field, you're doing the job. You too. Bye. And I get that. And like I said, she acted really well too. I think she displayed that nuance of being a novice at things and being innocent. And then while she's being exposed to like the brutal slaughter of war, I think that she does a really good job of conveying that. Nick Offerman plays the president. Not that it matters. It's a very small cameo type of role. You don't really see much of him. There is a guy. Where is he? Is this him? Yeah, Stephen McKinley Henderson. So he was in the Dune Part 1. He's in other stuff apparently, like Lady Bird and Fences and stuff. I didn't recognize him, except for from Dune. But he plays Sammy, like a colleague as well, who tags along on the trip. So basically, there's a war, a civil war. We don't know the reason. We have no clue who's doing what. All we know is that California and Texas joined together, and they're the Western Front, the WF. We know that. And we know that Florida tried to get the Carolinas to join them, which is weird because there's states in between there. But we don't know who Florida's with. Is Florida with the Western Front? Is Florida its own thing? Like, we don't know. And then the Carolinas did not join Florida. And we also know that the president is in his third term, which is illegal, obviously. And that's all you know. That's it. That's the whole Civil War. You don't know when it started. You don't know why it started. You don't know who's fighting who. I mean, these photojournalists, they're traveling from New York City to DC because they want to interview the president, which makes no sense to me. How are you expecting to get an interview with the president who is currently held up in the White House with Secret Service and armed people? How do you expect to get into the White House to interview him? Like, you're just not going to walk in and be like, hey, we're here to interview you. Like, that's not, there's a civil war going on. It makes no sense. But again, that's the whole part of this Civil War story that irked me, because they give you no context whatsoever for the Civil War aspect. So they have to take a curved path because they can't go down through, I think it's Maryland or somewhere down in that area is like non-passable. So they have to go east, and they go like into Pennsylvania and wrap themselves around and then go south. Which it's whatever. It's inconsequential because they run into like soldiers, right? And they show them taking pictures from fighting and stuff. One time they're taking pictures with people who are wearing regular clothes but with like military gear on top. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, those are like the people who, like the rebels or whatever. They're the ones fighting against the United States government. That's what I think. They don't tell you this. They show you nothing. You don't know who these people are. All you know is the people here with guns shooting at soldiers in uniform. So that's what you think. I mean, that's how I would take it, because the military is obviously wearing uniforms. So the dissident military would be wearing plain clothes, but with, protective stuff on. I'm assuming. You don't know. You don't know. And then other scenes, they're with military soldiers who are full military gear, but they're the WF, they're the California Texas Western Front. So it's like, I get that the press is supposed to be neutral, and that's a fun idea, but in reality, people don't view the press as being neutral at all. So I think it's weird that they would be accepted into both sides of the conflict to take pictures. I don't see that as being realistic in that sense. And then there's a whole scene with Jesse Plemons, who's a soldier, and he's in full uniform, but he doesn't like them and is thinking about killing them. It's like this whole jumbled mess, because without knowing the background story of the movie, you don't know how these interactions are occurring and why they're occurring. It really just kind of sucked the knowledge out of the movie, and it was just odd. But the acting was just so good, and I liked the way it was shot, And they would show you the pictures sometimes that the people are taking, and I really like that effect. So there's action happening, and they just kind of get like a snapshot of it and snapshot of it. It wasn't overly done. I mean, I would have liked it a little bit more often, to be honest, but it's just the lack. I just can't get over the lack of background story in the movie. I really can't get over that. And I see people defending it, like, oh, well, you don't want to have forced politics. And like, I'm not asking you to pick a side. I'm asking the director and the actor to give us sides. I don't know what the sides are. I can't pick a side. You can't pick a side. And you can say that's probably the point of the movie, is that we're on the side of the journalists, not the side of the conflicts, to kind of make, the journalists seem more neutral about things. I get that. But again, the journalists can be neutral, and we, the audience, can also know why there is a war. Like, they don't have to be separate. You can give us a little bit of information about the war, please. And people are like, well, watch interviews with the director. He talks about it. I'm like, I shouldn't have to watch interviews with the director to know more about a movie. The movie should tell me what the movie's about. I shouldn't have to watch hours of extracurricular activities to get an idea of what the movie's about. I watched the movie. I watched all hour and 49 minutes of it. That should be enough. But I digress. It was very interesting now. Like, some of the music choices were kind of weird to me. I didn't think they fit some of the scenes because they had like actual songs, and it just, some of it was a little upbeat, and I was just like, should this be an upbeat song situation? Like, I'm not sure, but okay. There is a lot of there's quite a bit of brutality in the movie, and I mean, I'm sure that's on purpose to show that one, war has no real winners, and two, that a civil war, like the previous civil war, pits us brethren against each other. You know, the idea that there are people in this country currently who want a civil war so they can stick it to and like kill political rivals, people who they think are so far gone that they can't live next to them kind of situation, you know. And it happens on both sides, you know. I don't I get that. I'm not pitting this on one side or the other. But like there's soldiers in the movie who take pleasure in killing the other side. Like there's a guy with a minigun. Wait, did he have a minigun? Yeah, he did. Well, maybe not a minigun, but he had an LMG. Sorry, it wasn't a minigun. It was an LMG. A minigun was in the other movie I watched on Monday. I'm getting all mixed up. It was an LMG, but you know, 200 box clip, just shooting these people, and they're dead, and he just keeps shooting them, and it's just like, and he's taking pleasure out of it. And meanwhile, you know, Kirsten Dunst's taking pictures of him, you know, and it's just, it's a painful and it's like emotionally charged scene. But again, I don't know why he's doing it. I don't know who he's fighting for. I don't know this aspect of this movie. We do get to see the president. Our characters do get to meet the president. Spoiler. For no reason. None at all. And it's weird because you have like the soldiers who are like storming the White House, and their goal is to kill the president. Their goal is not to capture the president. They don't want to capture the president. They want to kill him. And I thought that was really interesting because, again, we don't know anything about this president aside from he's in his third term. We don't know if he's, how evil and conniving he is. Obviously, having a third term is evil because it's against the U.S. Constitution. But other than that, we don't know anything about it. Like, why are these people so riled up that they don't want to take the leader of the opposition into custody to get a peace treaty or something like that? Why is your goal to murder him and shoot him in the face? Like, that's what they said they wanted to do. It was really, again, context. I need context as to why there's a civil war. Every question I had in the movie would have been answered if we knew more about the actual civil war. To call a movie Civil War and include no information about the said war was an interesting choice. I would still recommend the movie. And that probably seems counterintuitive. I still would recommend the movie simply because the acting is that good from Kirsten Dunst and crew. I really enjoy. Like I said, I feel like she could win. She could have been in an Oscar nomination. I mean, she still could be Oscar nominated for this movie. She is an Oscar winner because I think she won one for Interview with a Vampire. I think. But I just feel like, because she goes through a traumatic experience in the movie near the end, and obviously her character changes, but the movie doesn't show you this change. It's just like, BT dubs, this is her now, and it's like, oh, okay, like, I know how we got here, like I know what caused this, but could you show us like intermediate steps maybe? Or show her having a breakdown, or show her having something that connects the previous version of Kirsten Dunst to this version of Kirsten Dunst. Like, can we just have just a little bit? Just give us something, director, please. And he's like, no, nothing for you. You get no context on the war, and you get no context on the emotional well-being of the character. It's like, ugh. So, I mean, I would say watch it just for the sake of watching it, so you can talk about it with people. I mean, people are really polarized by the movie, and even I don't think they know why. I don't think it's polarizing. I think it lacks the context to be polarizing. I think people are putting their own feelings into the movie where it doesn't exist. Like, they meet some redneck people who have a gas station, and they're like, we don't want your money because, like, the U.S. dollar is worthless, but she had Canadian money, which was, worth of gold. And, like, they had some people tied up in the back, and it was like, again, it's the fantasy of being in a civil war that some people really, really want. Like, they're just itching to stick it to somebody. Like, they're just itching to kill somebody. Like, God, we just got rid of all the insert political party. This country would be so much better. And then here in this movie, you get that. But you just don't know what political party they are. You can make assumptions, but you shouldn't make assumptions about things. So, again, it all falls back on that context. I gave the movie a 6.5, 7, simply because I liked how it was shot. I like how it was made. I like the acting of the main quartet of actors. But it really just loses points just because of the context. I mean, that acting is really strong. It really is strong. But the lack of context just kills me. It really does. I mean, if you've seen Civil War, go ahead and share your comments. But I left the movie feeling like I saw half a movie. Like, I need to see the special features. I need to see something that's going to teach me what the heck the war's about. So, but it was very brutal. Oh, that's the other thing I want to complain about. So I want to complain more. Where are the governors of the states? Right? Where's the National Guard? Where are all these things that are in place to prevent this type of thing from happening? Again, context, Civil War. How long has it been going on? Like, the movie takes place at the end of the Civil War, so it's not for squeamish people, though, this movie. I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal. But yeah, so that's Civil War, kids. The last movie we have is Monkey Man. Now, I wanted to see it because I was interested in the idea of it. I mean, obviously, it looks like John Wick, which is a very okay movie series. Not great. I mean, even those barely have any story in them. They keep making them. But it has Dev Patel in it, who I like, who's a hottie boombalati. And I think Jordan Peele helped produce it. So that gave it a little bit more of an air of mystery to me. Jordan Peele's been doing a lot of horror movies, and like, obviously this isn't a horror movie. But I was curious how if that would play any part in this movie. So, Monkey Man is a tale of revenge. I don't think I posted about this in Discord. What was I know I was talking about it. Who was I talking about it with? I don't know. Anyway, it's Tale of Revenge. Dev Patel is looking to get revenge on some crooked politicians and crooked gang members. Well, gang members are crooked. But crooked police and stuff like that for what they did to his family. Now, you don't know immediately in the beginning what exactly they did. You know that they killed his family or his mother, but you don't know exactly what till later. I did predict part of the background story, but it's fine. So basically, it's called Monkey Man because what he does is that he fights in an underground, like, no holds barred fighting thing, and he wears a monkey mask. He's the Monkey Man, which has references to his childhood, where his mother told him the story of, I don't remember the name. It's an H. It's like Hunamanam. But anyway, it's like a monkey boy who thinks that he's reaching for the shiniest and brightest mango in the tree, but he actually eats the sun, and the gods get upset at him and punish him. So it has a story that parallels like his own story. So basically, he just kind of just takes hits. He's paid to take dives. He just loses. He's the heel of the wrestling fighting ring kind of thing. So he's always a loser, and he gets paid to do that. So he's very durable, I guess I would say. But he's at the same time he's concocting a plan to get in to infiltrate the seedy underground so he can take his revenge on the people who hurt his family. So I want to distance this movie from John Wick because yes, it has a lot of bloody action in it. Yes, it has martial arts and gunplay, and he wears a suit a lot in the movie. But this movie has what John Wick doesn't, and that's an emotional backstory. I know John Wick's dog got killed, and that's kind of like what happens and all that jazz. But this has like a really solid background story, and it gives the character a full range of like development as he goes through things. The movie was, God, it has to be super long. It felt really long, but not like in a negative way. It felt long in the sense that there's a lot of content in it. Oh. IMDb has like red writing for it. It's 2 hours and 1 minute. I don't know what's up with me thinking these movies are super long. I mean, 2 hours is long, but in my head I was thinking like 2.5, 2:45, you know? It felt Killers of the Flower Moon long, but in a good way. Anywho. So yes, I mean, he's training for this. He does get his butt kicked a lot in the movie, which I think adds more to his character. The movie is very Indian, from India. It takes place in India, I'm assuming. All the characters are like Indian or Pakistani. Like, it's a whole culture thing, which I really liked. I know that's going to turn off some people because sometimes the accents might be a little hard to understand. It wasn't often. It was a few times I was like, I don't know what they said. And anytime they speak in a different language, like Hindi, they'll have the captions and all that. So, but for me, I like that whole aspect because again, people compare it to John Wick, and it's like John Wick is very much this type of movie. This has heart and soul in it, and has culture, and there's celebrations. You actually kind of learn about Indian culture in this movie. And the movie evolves from being a revenge movie to becoming more of like a symbol. So he goes from wanting to exact revenge to kind of transforming into like a freedom fighter person. He kind of delves into the political world a little bit because that intertwines with the criminal empire that he's trying to like take down. So it was a lot of layers, and like his character really changes completely. It's brutal. It is a brutal movie. There is quite a bit of CGI blood. I mean, obviously, but I felt that most of it looked pretty good. There was one scene with a really brutal, creative kill that looked very CGI, and I was just like, oh, well, the blood anyway. I was very disappointed in that. I was like, there wasn't a way to do that practical, because it was a really big, as I'm pointing to my neck, because that's where the kill is, it was a really close-up of it. And it's like, you couldn't have used practical effects for that, or maybe spent a little extra time on that, because it's like this close to the neck. It's like you're right there. It was very obvious that it was CGI blood. And again, it took me out a little bit, but you just kind of got to suspend belief a little bit like that. I mean, all movies have that type of stuff where there's a lot of special effects. The fighting, though, was really good. Fight scenes were good. It felt hard hitting. There wasn't as much gunplay as I thought there would be. But again, I think it's a cultural thing. I mean, it is India. Kind of an Asian vibe. I mean, they are in Asia, so. But the whole type of martial arts and the battles that they do. In fact, again, I think it really, really worked, and I really, really liked it. God, what else about the movie? I really enjoyed Monkey Man. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much, because like action movies are one thing, but I wasn't expecting it to have this much depth to it. There is a sidebar of the movie, so it's gonna be slight of a spoiler here, because I wasn't expecting it, but I mean, you if you watch a trailer, it's probably in the trailer. Well, there's gun stuff, but it's not, it's not John Woo tequila time, so he kind of gets beat. Monkey Man kind of loses. And he gets saved by a group of people. I'm going to look up what they're called. I don't remember what they're called. They're not technically that. There we go. They're called Harajis. So it's kind of like a officially recognized third gender. So they're masculine and feminine to what people would probably call trans in America, but they're not trans. They're a third gender where they embody, at least in this movie, they believed in being these two different gods, like like a male god and this female god combined. And in the movie, they mention how they're being attacked by the government, and that's how the politics starts to play into it, because those politicians are connected to the criminal underground. So there's this whole thing with that, but they save him and they help get him back to health, and he ends up learning more about himself and understanding kind of like spirituality. It's really good. I'm trying not to give away like a whole bunch, but I mean, it was a very interesting way, and it's very not American. And I could very much see that being a reason why people don't like it, because it's a different culture, and it kind of goes against what people in this country kind of believe at the moment. I mean, for me, I didn't mind it. I mean, I'm probably a bit more liberal than other people, but I really like that aspect of the movie, and I thought it brought in just something extra to it. Yeah. I'm trying to think of I wonder if they were like actually, oh, they are. There's Haraja. Multiple shots were filmed with GoPros and iPhones. I mean, to be honest, you couldn't really tell. There was a lot of, like I said, a lot of great things in it, though. Dev Patel's character's name is Kid. So Dev Patel, he was a director. He was a writer. I mean, he's one of 3 writers, but he wrote it, directed it, and starred in it. Which, I mean, I know other people have done as well in the past. But man, he was giving it. There was a little bit of nudity in this movie, better. So, not of Dev Patel, unfortunately, but of ladies. Mostly ladies of the night. So there you go. You can enjoy some of that. But yeah, I really liked the how the theology of the religion really interplayed with the story. How he kind of became a this review says Indian John Wick. I get the comparisons, but it's so much better than John Wick. It's so much better than John Wick. Oh, and it was filmed so nicely. The sets were so nice. The colors, like it felt like you were in India or Delhi, you know, and just kind of immersed in the culture of it. It really was good, and I wish people would really go see it. It made 29 million worldwide. Half of that, well, almost half of that was in its opening weekend. I don't know. I think people just kind of see it as being John Wick, but with a non-white guy. Although John Wick's not white either, so Keanu Reeves is not white. But you know what I mean. Dev Patel is probably not as he's not as big of a name as Keanu Reeves. So yeah, I can't praise it enough. I really like. I don't normally like a bunch of like just straight up action movies like that, but I did feel like there was a lot of extra stuff in there that really made me like it more. I feel like I had so many more thoughts about this movie that I can't remember at this moment because I didn't write them down. Yikes. But it definitely was in acts. It's brutal. I did cry during this one. There's an adult parody of John Wick. I mean, Wick does rhyme with something else. Probably though, but probably. So what I recommend, Monkey Man, 100%. I mean, I probably wouldn't call it a date movie unless your date likes violence and gore and brutality. I would probably give it like, God, what didn't I like about the movie? How about that? What did I not like about the movie? I felt like it's maybe too much story put into one thing. You know, maybe just a little too much. But again, I just feel like it worked for me. I don't know. It's weird. I can't really think of negatives for the movie. I know there has to be negatives because, you know, perfect movies are very hard to come by. I mean, I wouldn't say it's perfect just because, you know, it's not my type of movie in general. And it does get political. So if you don't like politics, not political in the sense like it's telling you what to think. Political in the sense that he goes against certain politicians. But again, it's because they're connected to the crime underground. Sorry, there's like somebody screaming outside. And I was trying to listen to what they were saying. It sounded not good. Anyway, if I had to rate Monkey Man, which I do have to rate it, to be honest, I think I'm going to give it a 9. A 9. I feel like there has to be something I didn't like about it. I mean, well, the CGI blood. The CGI blood I didn't care for in quite a few of the scenes. But there's just so much creativity with how he infiltrates the organization, you know, and how he gets a gun into the location. Like, it's all very good. I mean, he does let his emotions get the best of him quite a few times in the movie. And I'm just kind of like, hasn't he figured this out yet? Like, hasn't he, like, understood that he has this downfalls in the movie because he can't control his emotions? I mean, I know emotions are a powerful thing. But for a guy who gets beat up for a living, I would think he'd be able to control himself just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. After like the second time, I'm like, okay, come on, man. Get yourself in check. Because you can't, break your cover or have this thing happen to you again because you lost track of who you were. So, there you go. That's why I took 1 star off. But yeah, Monkey Man. An anonymous young man unleashes a campaign of vengeance against the corrupt leaders who murdered his mother and continue to systematically victimize the poor and the powerless. Like I said, he becomes a beacon for the poor and the powerless, including the Haraji, the third gender people. It just works. It really just works, man. But yeah, so that's all the movies that we were slated to talk about. On the TV front, I'm just watching The Nanny. I mean, it's pretty much it. I've been watching a little bit of Absolutely Fabulous again, but I haven't watched Fallout, so calm down. Will I? Yes, I will. There's a new season of Them coming out, which I'm excited about. It's not the same storyline, but I'm curious. I really like Them. We talked about that in one of our previous lives. So, I'm excited about that. I know Fallout is like the big thing. That's the big thing that everybody's talking about. I don't really want to see Abigail. I don't think it looks very good, but I get bonus points if I go see it. But it's like, do I want to sit it through that? I mean, I could just get a ticket and not watch it and still get the bonus points. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly, I always say it wrong, ungentlemanly warfare. I think it's a Guy Ritchie movie, right? Yeah, Guy Ritchie. But it has Henry Cavill, Alan Richardson, Alex Pettyfer, Carrie Elways, The Princess Bride. There's a lot of people in that movie. I haven't really even watched a trailer for it, to be honest. I might just go see it because it's a Guy Ritchie movie, just to say I saw it, I got the pass. I can see whatever the heck I want. I missed Late Night with the Devil. That's gone. I think the first Omen's still playing. I should go see that. I missed Immaculate, which is unfortunate. Arcadian is out, which is a Nicolas Cage movie. That could be good or it could be god awful. Nicolas Cage is a mess. These are all old movies. I don't want top picks. I want where's the coming soons? Oh, The Fall Guy. Oh my god, can I please stop seeing advertisements for The Fall Guy? Oh my god. The trailer plays before everything. They have a PG version, a PG-13 version, and a rated R version. I've seen it in front of every single movie I have seen in the past 2 months. Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. Which movie? The Fall Guy? I feel like I've already seen it. I don't think I need to see it because I've just seen so many trailers about it. Yeah. The only thing I like about it is when they show the title, The Fall Guy, there's like a silhouette of a man falling into the A. And I really like it. I really like that design choice. But other than that, I'm like, I don't need to see this movie. I know what happens, You showed me everything. And the second trailer spoiled even more of the movie. And it's just like, good God. Stop it. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I don't care about Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Didn't watch the TV show. Is The Fall Guy a TV show? Is that what you're saying? Oh yeah, it's a remake of The Fall Guy, 1981. Lee Majors played Colt Seavers, a Hollywood stuntman who moonlights as a bounty hunter. when there's little movie work. Lee Majors himself and the show's infamous vehicle, the 1981 GMC K2500 wideside, also appear in the movie. Huh. I had no idea. Like literally zero idea that it's like a remake or whatever. Huh. Still don't really want to see it. But very interesting. No idea. But yeah, I've never seen a Planet of the Apes movie. Not the originals, not the Tim Burton. I've never really had interest. I was more interested in like the makeup of it, like how they made them look like apes back in like the 60s or 70s, and then how Tim Burton like improved in that process. Like I like that aspect of it, but I never was really interested in the movie itself, especially the Tim Burton one had Mark Wahlberg in it. So, and I've never seen any of this this new trilogy or whatever, like Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the Rise of the Kingdom of the County of the City of the Planet of the Apes. I've never seen it. Like, I have no interest in them. You would think it's a movie that's right up my alley, but it just isn't. It just isn't. Challengers, a Zendaya movie. It looks okay. I feel like the trailer showed a lot of it. Again, trailers just ruin movies for me. I think that's playing now. I guess the Never Ending Story's coming back into theaters. $1984, yeah, so that'd be its 40th anniversary. I don't think I've really seen the first one. The one we had on DVD was Never Ending Story 2. So that's the one I always saw. Because that had, what's his face? Jason Bredes? He died tragically young. He's from like the movie It and stuff. He's kind of like the hit boy back then. But again, like tonight, I think they were showing. There was another re-release tonight. Oh, it was Aliens. Aliens was tonight. I would have loved to see that in theaters, but it's like I don't want to go at night, you know. Tarot, that looks okay for a horror movie. I'm pretty sure it's probably not going to be very good. Godzilla vs. Kong, I don't care about that. South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut. I have seen that plenty of times. I guess that's being re-released. Steel Magnolias, never seen it. Blazing Saddles, are they going to show Blazing Saddles in theaters? Because I will go see Blazing Saddles in theaters. 1974, 50th anniversary. Let's make it happen. I've never seen Blazing Saddles. I know. I had it on my queue on Netflix, but I don't have Netflix anymore, so I've never got to see it. But if they're re-releasing it, it better be playing at my theater. I will go see that movie. Well, usually they're only for like a day or two anyway, these re-releases, so it's not like a week-long thing. It's like this, they were showing the Spider-Man movies, the Tobey Maguire ones, and I think it's just like for one day. And it's funny, so they had Spider-Man 2 back in theaters, and it was like in the top 5 movies for the week because it made so much money when they re-released it. Like, that's crazy. But hey, people love it because they have Shrek 2 out again. Like it's a bunch of anniversaries, and I mean I'm loving it because I get to see movies that I haven't ever like. I saw Chinatown, never seen it, but I got to see it in theaters. Hey, that's 50 years, just like Blazing Saddles. I'll have to check my local listings to see what's playing in mine. Because that's something I would want to watch. Muppet movie, don't care about. Howl's Moving Castle, I'd watch that. But I think those are probably going to be Fathom events, which my ticket thing does not cover. Episode 1, Star Wars. I'd probably go see that if it's playing more than just one night. The Fifth Element. Oh, please. I want to see The Fifth Element in theaters. Please. Oh. What's that? 30-year anniversary? No, that's 97. So it's what, 20? No. That's weird. I don't know. Well, I would go see that. I love The Fifth Element. Damn, man, Civil War is kicking ass at the box office. Last week in Civil War made $11 million. More than every other new release. But anyhow, we're going to wrap this up here because we're kind of getting off subject here. But yeah, those are movies we talked about today. When I make the VOD tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and put the times in. So if you want to review something, you can just click on the numbers and you can see the specific movie you want to hear about. Yes, there is some banter in between, but it's because this is a live stream, so I do read comments while I do the reviews. There are some tangents. Again, this is live. I mean, Mila's been rocking for decades. That woman still rocking. So I just love the movie. It's such a fun movie for me. But yeah, so hopefully I can get back into doing these lives again at least once a month. We have a movie review coming out on Monday. It is going to be Boy Kills World, starring Bill Skarsgård. Very interesting movie. I think that movie came out today. So hopefully that video will get some traction because my videos have not been getting traction. But yeah, no problem, inventor. We'll see you again. I'll talk to you. So, but yeah, so you guys, thanks for coming out, and we will see you again soon. Well, we'll see you on Monday with the review. All right. Bye. Thanks for coming out.